Yes, I would say, like, to begin with, my novice master was very influential in my developing as a friar. He was called Father Malachy, and it was up in Pantassa. Had him for about a year or so, so he was very instrumental in my perseverance. He was a very sturdy Welshman. He had been an international rugby player at school level, so he was a strong man. I think he was a forward, in the Welsh rugby. But of course, although when he came to the order, he practically had to give up playing rugby, although he did play a little bit locally where he was stationed. I think down in Erith and in Crawley, he joined rugby clubs, but his opportunities were very limited to carry on. He never made it to the full international. And I'm from a very sporting background as well, like from Ireland, from Gaelic football and hurling. And so we always had a lot to talk about sport, He was very interested in soccer as well, So we used to chat about the sport and who won and who was in the running for things, so yeah. Good man. He was from Cardiff. Well, of course, when I first came, it was just the Vatican Council was on. And so, that brought tremendous changes. There was a huge division between the lay brothers and the priest brothers. And so we had our own times for prayer, our separate recreation rooms, and all that kind of thing. There wasn't great opportunities to intermix with the professed friars for the first few years, but just in the middle of the novitiate, the Vatican Council ended, and so things changed quite a lot. We were able to, instead of having the prayers in Latin, they suddenly had them in English, and so the brothers were all invited to join in. I think the reason was that we were kept separate was that the brothers didn't know Latin, so they couldn't really join in with the office. So we had our own particular office to say, which comprised of Our Father, so many Our Fathers for Matins, so many for Lords, Prime, Terce, whatever, Vespers, Compline. It was all laid out how many Our Fathers we had to do. So that was a huge change, Oh yes, yeah, sure. I mean, the division between the lay brothers and the clerics was enormous. That, the lay brothers were not allowed to have any positions of responsibility in the order. So all that broke down when brothers became guardians and took on different areas of formation. There was no avenues closed after the Vatican Council, which was good. I was born in Ireland, but I joined the friars here, and for many, many years, I hadn't met any Irish Capuchins. So now, over the years, I got to know quite a few of them through different meetings and things. So now, with the studying together and, initial formation together, they'll all know each other very well. So it should be as one, really. I suppose the highlights would be celebrations of first profession, final profession, and just 4 years ago I had a big celebration for my 50th, 50 years in the order. So I had quite a gathering at Chester, and a lot of family came, and it was great to have them there, because they have no idea of what the life is like, so they get a little glimpse of what we're about. Well, my name is Brother Patrick Mulligan. I was born in County Cavan, in a place called Ballinya, and I came to England as an economic refugee in the 50s, like thousands of others. My aim as a youngster at school was to get rich quick, and so the streets were paved with gold in England, so It was from I was 12, 13 years. Our family was like a conveyor belt, and we were born on a very small farm, and it meant that one person was only one could stay behind, 11 had to go. So I was number 9 in the family. So as soon as I'd finished school, which for us was 14 in those days, you know, it was just primary school we had in Ireland. There was education was so expensive. With such a large family, we couldn't afford to go to college or pay for the books. So anyway, I came to England in 1956. Luckily enough, my brother, who's a year older than me, was here before me. So he brought me straight into a job, into Bedsitterland, and we lived around London in Bedsitterland. And my work then was mainly tarmacking, started off in tarmacking. And then we got into a firm that did white lining on the roads. So I was in a depot making that white line material while my brother was traveling around the country putting it down on the roads. So anyway, I had a normal sort of life in London from 56 until 64. And I with my brother, like he took me to the pubs and clubs and dances and cinemas and everything else. So I led a very normal sort of life. But the idea of getting rich faded very quickly. I had some money, made some money, and that was no good to me, I felt, you know, that there must be something more to life than this. And although I'd been to dances and had some girlfriends and things like that, I never met one that I could settle down with. So one of my family, one of my sisters was a nun. She was about 10 years older than me. And she said to me, why don't you become a Franciscan? So I said, well, yeah, maybe I should do that. So that was while I was on holiday in Ireland. So I came back to England and I asked my local parish priest to put me in touch with the Franciscans. He picked up the phone book and he got Franciscan Friary Peckham, which we had then, and they were the Capuchins. I didn't know the difference between the other branches. So the vocations man there invited me out, and as we say, the rest is history. So that was 1964, and I joined in 65, in April 65. And I did a lot of different things in the province. You know, I could see that, you know, we were beginning to have to hire lay people to work for us, to cook for us. So I made efforts to be a cook. So in Birmingham, they sent me out to learn cookery in a college of food there, and City and Guilds and all that. So I did that, and I quite enjoyed it. So my main work and the order at that time was cooking. So in those days, you had to cook breakfast, dinner, and supper, 3 meals a day. And then after that, then, you know, I got into other things. I was appointed vocations promoter in Peckham, where I did 10 years of that kind of work, promoting vocations. I advertised in the Catholic press and organised weekends for lads and spoke to them. And then for the first year they came, I was their director as well. So that was interesting. And then after I'd done that, then I was appointed guardian in different houses. So I've been a guardian in Pentasive, a guardian in Erith several times, guardian at Canterbury. All the houses except here have been guardian in those years, you know. So and then that was it. I've been involved in formation, you know, with postulants and with assistant novice master as well over the years. So now I'm 84 this year, and so I have a bad leg and I'm not really able to get around much as I used to. So I'm feeling I'm coming to the end of my mission, but it's been good. Yeah.